Hi, I'm Tammy Brackett, and this is my research presentation on gamification in higher education. The term gamification was coined in 2002 by Nick Pelling, and it refers to the application of the fun characteristics of games to something that's not a game. Examples in everyday life include frequent flyer miles. Now, I'm including this because of the rewards that are earned from points. Flying is not necessarily fun, but the propensity of those seeking to gamify something tends to start with providing a reward. So I'm starting with frequent flyer miles, even if, as we'll learn later, it's an example of one of the less effective gamification strategies. Frequent flyer programs began in 1981 with American Airlines, and it was their effort to reward flyers for their loyalty. Going places has been gamified. Foursquare is what's known as a location-based mobile game. Individualization exists a bit more here. Foursquare claims to learn what you like and lead you to places that you'll love. It allows users to search for places of interest in a specific area. It takes into account data collected via check-ins at locations and allows users to leave tips, which are akin to likes on Facebook. Users can also insert a number of tastes that signal the type of food or environment that they enjoy. This is the individualization that the frequent flyer programs lack. Although frequenting a location can reward a person with a title such as being mayor of that location. Foursquare is very popular. More than 55 million users worldwide. They've left more than 70 million tips and checked in over 7 billion times. Over 2 million businesses have identified their locations on Foursquare. Beer drinking has also been gamified. The app Untapped is a mobile-driven app way of finding what you like, and in this case, what people are searching for is a place to drink beer, or a specific beer. Users don't have to drink alone, and they can geek out about beers via social media. Instead of simply checking into locations, they check into beers, rate them, share photos of them, and earn badges along the way. It's individualized and it's social, and friends share their recommendations with each other. Gamification also exists in the area of employee engagement. Badgeville claims to be able to increase customer engagement online, engage customers at work, and increase sales through gamification. They offer ready-made platforms that a company can simply add their content to. The inclusion of analytics causes it to seem like it's functioning according to similar strategies as Untapped and Foursquare. In reality, it may function more like time tracking software that measures individual employee efficiency. This effort to influence behavior seems to be based primarily on rewards, and therefore may be missing the key element for successful gamification, which is fun. So, why gamification? Well, first of all, because it's so popular. In the US alone, there are 5 million people playing games for 40 hours a week. Gamification is increasingly being used successfully for marketing purposes, as we've just seen in our examples of everyday uses of it. Educators wish to harness the power of video games, the power that video games have on their students, and use it to teach. Admissions staff wishes to harness that power and help students complete applications and find the right school. Student Affairs wishes to use gamification to get students involved on campus. So let's look at how gamification is currently being utilized in education identify what works and what doesn't, and along the way, develop a list of best practices for gamification's integration into higher education. The very first step to getting into college is being gamified. SAT and ACT test prep. Navient's test prep has gamified SAT and ACT test preparation. They claim that, and this is a quote, "The gamified courses allow students to earn badges and rewards as they learn. These positive reinforcements are proven to motivate students to complete activities in our courses. Navient's test prep is also adaptive to help students focus on the most important concepts for them based on daily goals to maximize their study time." End quote. The desire to make studying for these important tests more fun than work is understandable and perhaps seemingly impossible. Yet, again, there's more reliance on rewards such as digital badges than on making the process more fun. What they call intelligent reporting provides insight into where a student should focus their time. However, this same information can be gained through the use of practice exams. Grocket is another company who is doing similar work. Grocket, with a name that may be more attractive to the targeted demographic, is described as being addictive. It allows for competition and collaboration among students, and this sets it apart. The competition aspect is what makes it fun. There is a potential for failure, which makes their success more meaningful. Of the two, this would fit more with successful gamification because it has the all-important fun portion. Classcraft claims to, quote, "transform any class into a role-playing game that fosters stronger student collaboration and encourages better behavior." End quote. Their website contains a testimonial from a college professor who uses it in her history classes at a community college. Most of her students are working adults. She reports needing to make a number of adjustments to accommodate the individuals because Classcraft was set up for use in middle to high school settings. One of the features she needed to alter was the list of sentences or punishments that are part of the game. She states that she did away with the punishment of, quote, "bringing treats" for the class because she was aware that some of her students wouldn't have the means to do that. This particular professor was able to use her insight into the differences among students to make alterations to the game that would be to the benefit of the students. This is fortunate for her students. Not every professor or teacher will have this sort of insight, much less the technical skill and persistence to make the tool work for their particular group of individuals. One must remember that although the tool was created with the assistance of educational professionals, that doesn't mean that it's applicable to all students. Just as it is assumed that the use of gamification can promote learning, it is assumed that each teacher will use it in a way that benefits each student. And these assumptions can be problematic. Like the badges earned by the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, digital badges are designed as a way of marking the accomplishment of a specific skill development. As online learning certificate programs and MOOCs have become popular, badges are becoming a formalized way to track skill development. In relation to gamification, they're often used as a reward. And in and of themselves, however, they're not enough to gamify an experience. Since educational badges are still developing, there's a significant lack of consistency, and there are questions being raised about their value. According to Dan Hickey, professor of learning sciences at Indiana University, Bloomington, people starting badge systems don't always know what they're getting into. In developing a badge system, they often realize that the skills they want the badges to indicate are not being properly measured. With growing popularity of badges, it can be confusing as to their value. Ad hoc use of badges by curriculums versus official badges issued by the university could create confusion and distrust of both systems. Badges may be relatively easy to collect, but assessing their value is not. Participating in a MOOC, completing a training course, and excelling in a university classroom are not equivalent experiences, yet each could be indicated by a badge. Badges do include metadata that contextualizes the accomplishment and links to evidence of that accomplishment. Solving that value problem is what the Open Badge Exchange hopes to assist in doing. Open Badge Exchange is a collaborative effort that hopes to bring the entities offering badges together to allow for the exchanging of badges for more advanced credentials. The college decision-making process is currently being gamified. Here's a quote from VibeFect. A college search system geared directly towards students and their parents. VibeFect offers first-of-its-kind research, predictive analytics, and fun gamification that teens love to create a guidance framework that will help you determine what environment your child is most likely to thrive in time for college. End quote. This is similar to Foursquare's method of determining a person's taste in food, except here the data being collected is via a national study assessing 100 different campus features and their correlation to 66 individual traits. VibeFect attempts to look at college as an ecosystem and picture the student within it. They then predict the success of the student academically and socially at that institution. Ball State has gamified their retention and engagement efforts. This app is aimed at low-income students and focused on getting many of these first-generation college students engaged in the college experience. Using the Ball State's achievement apps, seeing a movie on campus, getting good grades, visiting the tutoring center all contribute points that the students can exchange at the campus bookstore or at the campus Starbucks. It's been considered a success by the campus after its first year in 2014, when half of the Pell Grant population downloaded it. The app is updated for 2015 and includes even more point-generating activities. Ball State has the right idea here, assessing the success of the app as they go. Pell Grant students who used it last year had higher grade point averages, were 33% more likely to be engaged in Ball State activities, and were significantly more likely to have campus jobs than students who didn't use the app. It seems that they are having some success using only rewards. However, they are currently planning to individualize the experience. Recall the frequent flyer program as an example of a program that depends on rewards, not intrinsic reinforcement. The beginning of a solution to the problem of relying solely on rewards has been suggested by Eric van Omeren, who suggests a bit more individualization might allow for some interactive and competitive elements. Imagine bidding on your seat. You could find yourself sitting in first class based on a bid that you made using your frequent flyer points. In a 2014 study that conducted a systematic mapping of scholarship on gamification in education, the authors found that while there are numerous publications on the topic, they tend to focus on the dynamics of the game and their possible use in education. What they found lacking was empirical research on the effectiveness of the use of game elements in teaching and learning. This lack of proper evaluation exists alongside the opinion of most authors that gamification has the potential to improve learning. It's striking that most information available on the value of gamification is based on what the new cool tool is that can be used, and not what it might be used to accomplish in terms of learning objectives. Gamification has some serious obstacles. Seriously. The problem is that games are attacked because they are games, not because of the content. They aren't taken seriously because it's a game. Gamification might need to take on a new title, like graphic novels are being called graphic novels instead of comic books. The medium of games needs to be embraced as valuable if gamification in higher education is going to be successful. I suggest using the term interactive experiences as an alternative. So here are some other best practices. We need to embrace what Ian Robertson calls the winner effect, which is a challenge, achievement, pleasure, feedback loop. Basically, this means that the more you succeed, the more you want to succeed. This is simply intrinsic reinforcement. When we challenge ourselves and succeed at that challenge, the chemical dopamine is released in our brains. It feels good to us, and that can create the winner effect. This is what makes games addictive, and this is what can change behaviors. We also need to be aware of external rewards. If you replace motivation with external rewards, motivation eventually drops off after a time. Once you start giving someone a reward, you'll have to keep giving them a reward forever. The idea is to focus on the play and not the external reward. If you remove some rewards later, you may end up worse off than you were before. It's very important to work with someone who knows game design, that they have that experience, not just someone who can make a game or someone who knows the content, but someone who knows more about games than levels and points, so that they can make a game that is a rich, user-centered experience with multiple hooks. So in conclusion, it seems like higher education is just beginning to take games seriously. The efforts of research projects like Ball State's Achievement app will have significant impact on the potential future funding and research in this area. It's not all fun and games. There's some serious work to be done. For a list of references for this presentation, please see the description section below. Thank you for your time, and game on.